My name is Michael, and what happened 2 years ago in one of America's national parks still haunts me like it was yesterday. I kept it to myself for a long time, but now I can't hold it in any longer. Back then, I was still in college. Together with two of my friends, Tom and Alex, we decided to take a weekend hiking trip. You know, a guy's only escape. A tent, a fire, no cell service, no civilization. We picked a remote trail in the Montana mountains, miles away from anyone. It sounded perfect.
We hiked for almost 6 hours before setting up camp near a small lake. The forest was dense. The sun vanished quickly behind the ridges. Even in daylight, the silence felt wrong, too deep. No birds, no bugs, nothing. Just the occasional rustle of wind moving through the trees. That night, as we sat around the fire laughing and drinking beer, I heard something that still keeps me awake at night. A voice. It was faint, almost like a whisper carried on the breeze, and I swear, it was calling my name. "Did you guys hear that?" I asked. Alex waved me off. "You're just tired, man." Maybe he was right. But suddenly, I felt cold, even though the fire was blazing. In the morning, we hiked deeper into the woods. Tom led the way. I walked in the middle. Alex was in the back. At one point, Tom got a little ahead of us, just a few minutes. When we came out onto a clearing where he should have been waiting, he was gone. We shouted his name, looked for footprints, nothing. It was like he had just evaporated. By midday, we gave up searching and went back to the lake, hoping Tom would find his way back. He didn't. Instead, that night, we heard him. "Michael! Alex! Come here! Help me!" His voice came from the forest, from the dark. We froze. Neither of us dared to go. There was something wrong about it, like the voice was almost too perfect, too hollow, like a bad recording. We decided to pack up and head back. But on the trail, it happened again. Alex was walking behind me. He stopped talking, and when I turned around, he was gone. Just gone. His backpack was lying on the ground unzipped as if it had been ripped off. I screamed his name until my throat burned. I ran between the trees, but the forest answered with silence. That's when I found the old tent. It was half collapsed, covered in moss, probably abandoned for decades. Inside, there was a notebook. The pages were yellow and brittle, but the writing was clear. "They call me by my name. They speak with the voices of my friends. Do not follow them. Never follow them." My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped it. Whoever wrote this had heard the same voices. I sat alone by the fire. It was so dark, I couldn't even see my own hands in front of my face. And then the voices returned. But this time, it wasn't just one. It was Tom and Alex. Both of them crying out, begging for help from somewhere deep in the woods. And underneath their cries, there was something else. A low hum, 1,000 whispers all tangled together. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my flashlight and walked toward the sound. Between the trees, I saw light, bright white light, like a campfire or lanterns glowing in the dark. I remember stepping forward, one step, then another, and then, "Michael!" A voice right behind me. The last thing I remember is the ground vanishing beneath my feet, and I fell. If you're hearing this story, it means someone found my recorder. But please, I'm begging you, never go into those woods. Whatever calls your name out there, it isn't your friends.
grew up believing nothing truly bad could happen in my small hometown. But one night, my little sister walked out of our house, and she never came back. The strangest part? I still hear her knocking on my bedroom window. My name is Anna, and what I'm about to tell you still feels like a nightmare I can't wake up from. This is about my younger sister, Lily. She was only 12 years old when she vanished. We lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio, the kind of place where people leave their doors unlocked and kids ride their bikes until sunset. Nothing ever happened there. Until that night. It was late summer. I remember because the crickets outside were so loud and the air was warm even at night. I was in my room reading when I heard the front door creak open. At first I thought it was my mom, but when I peeked out, I saw Lily, barefoot, in her pajamas, slowly stepping outside. "Lily?" I whispered. She didn't answer. She just kept walking down the driveway, toward the streetlight. I rushed after her, but by the time I opened the door, she was gone. We called the police immediately. They searched every street, every park, every corner of the woods behind our house. No footprints, no clues. It was like she had been swallowed by the night itself. The worst part? Neighbors said they saw her too, standing under the streetlight, staring up at the sky. One woman swore she saw a shadow next to her, something tall, something that wasn't human. Weeks went by. My parents were destroyed. Posters with Lily's face covered the town, but no answers ever came. And then it started. Every night, just after 3 a.m., I'd hear tapping on my bedroom window. Not loud, just soft, rhythmic knocks. When I gathered the courage to look out, there was nothing there. Until one night, I saw her. Lily, standing outside the glass, pale, her eyes wide and unblinking. She mouthed something to me, but I couldn't hear her. And then she was gone. The police said I was hallucinating. Stress, grief, trauma. But I know what I saw. And the knocks still come, even years later. Last week, I finally pressed my phone against the window and hit record. The tapping sound is there, clear as day. But when I played it back, there was something else too. A voice whispering my name. If you hear knocking on your window at 3 a.m., whatever you do, don't look.
When you drive long enough at night, you see strange things. But one night, on a deserted highway, I picked up a hitchhiker, and I swear to God, what got into my car wasn't human. My name's Daniel, and I work as a truck driver. I've spent more nights on the road than in my own bed. Lonely highways, truck stops at 2 a.m., gas stations that feel frozen in time. That's my life. But there's one trip I'll never forget. I was driving through Nevada, a stretch of desert road with nothing for miles. No lights, no towns, just endless black. Around midnight, I saw someone standing by the road, a hitchhiker. It was a young woman, maybe mid-20s, long black hair, pale skin, wearing a white dress that looked old, like something from the 70s. She didn't wave, didn't move, just stood there, staring at me as I slowed down. Normally, I don't pick up hitchhikers, but something about her, maybe guilt, maybe loneliness, made me stop. She got in without a word. For the first few minutes, silence. Then I asked, "Where are you headed?" She whispered, "Home." Her voice was flat, almost wrong, like there was no life in it. The strangest thing, she never looked at me, just stared straight ahead, her hands folded neatly in her lap. I noticed her dress was damp, like it had been in water. About 20 minutes later, I glanced in the rearview mirror and froze. She wasn't in the passenger seat anymore. She was in the back seat, sitting perfectly still, staring at me through the mirror. I slammed the brakes, heart racing, turned around, but the seat was empty, completely empty. I thought I'd lost my mind, until I smelled it. Wet earth, rotting leaves, like a swamp had somehow seeped into the cab of my truck. I didn't stop until I reached the next gas station. I jumped out, shaking, breathing hard. An older man at the counter saw me and asked if I was all right. When I told him what happened, he just looked at me and nodded slowly. Then he said, "You saw her. They all see her. Every few years, around mile 117. Young girl, white dress. She drowned in a flood back in '78, and she's been trying to hitch a ride home ever since." I swore I'd never drive that road again. But sometimes, when the night is quiet and I'm alone in the cab, I can still smell the wet earth, and I know she's near.